Oh, yes. There we go. Hey, we're back.
We're back.
It's been a while, hasn't it? 3 weeks.
Yeah, it will be 3 weeks, won't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It feels weird doing this now. It feels like we're newbies again.
And now we don't know what to say or what to do.
I'm sure we'll find something to rattle on about.
Yeah, we will.
Well, we've just done a Reiki share with each other, haven't we? So we can talk about that.
We have, yes. We have. It was very intense. We both felt it, didn't we?
Yeah, it was really powerful, especially because it's a full moon today as well. Super strawberry moon or whatever it's called. Yeah, so there's a lot going on, but yeah, it's been really, really powerful. And a lot of stuff lately that's been going on with me the last couple of weeks. Wow, just crazy stuff that's just been purging and shedding and getting rid of. It's been interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the last few weeks. I mean, dreams. You've said dreams. I've said dreams as well.
Crazy dreams. Yeah. But you're all relocated now as well, so you're in.
All relocated, even though it looks like I haven't even moved.
You still got that whitewash wall behind you.
I know, I'm still waiting for some artwork to come. It is on its way, and then it will look slightly different. I mean, the room itself is actually very different. I look out to a conservatory. I'm on the ground. Gary's got his desk in here. He's obviously not working in today. He's gone on to a conference thing. So it's actually a different room, very different room. But on camera, it looks like I've not even moved.
She hasn't moved. She hasn't moved at all.
It's all fake news. We're all fake. We're all attention seeking.
I can't be bothered to do that a lot for a few weeks. I'll have a bit of a break.
We have moved. You won't know.
What is time and space anyway? What does it matter? It doesn't. It's not.
Yeah.
So, you've got a brew as well, have you?
Yeah, green tea.
Oh, I had to go for a coffee after that Reiki session.
Yeah.
To have something to wake me up.
I'll have some coffee at about 3 o'clock with a scone.
With a scone on the lawn.
I've made some scone. Yeah, I'm getting used to my new kitchen as well, baking in it, cooking in it. Jump straight in there.
You're getting proper into country living, like, aren't you? With going to the little market, the wheelbarrow with all the all the veg and that in. And
no, it's blown me away. I've seen in our messages, it's really blown me away.
Yeah.
The difference of energy. I mean, I know sometimes country living can be a bit cliquey. We were a bit worried about that. And no, not everybody's perfect. But no light pollution. We literally, our bedroom's at the back now and it looks over the garden. And at the minute, we're not got any blinds or anything. So the sky at night I've never seen anything like it.
Crystal clear.
The colours, no light pollution, no chemtrails or anything.
Yeah. It makes such get one there quick. It makes such a difference. I know when we go up to Kielder, for the last couple of times we've been, because they're supposed to have like the darkest skies in the country because there's nothing. It's like it's in the middle of nowhere. And that's why they have the observatory there, so you can see the skies so clearly. And when it's really clear on a night, you can sometimes, if there's not too much cloud coverage, you can sometimes see the aurora borealis as well. But the skies up there just is absolutely fantastic when you can see how much is there, especially when you like us and you're fascinated with out there and where we've come from and what's going on and stuff and the energies and stuff. So
and being so close to trees as well and water, it's such a game changer. And the slow pace of life, and people are pottering rather than rushing, and shall I tell you something? This is no word of a lie. I've not seen or heard a police car in the past 2 weeks.
They don't have any in Lincoln. It's all bicycles.
Every day where I lived, you would hear the police, honestly. Either copper chopper above you.
It's the same here. Just like every day, you can't go a day without even a siren or a police helicopter or a plane going over or something.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I
I'm
was
going to try and change my internet over. This is another thing we country living. I don't think I can do it. Because we've got to have 2 router Wi-Fi's and I'm on the one at the front. So I'm not sure how I can do that actually without coming off. So if it keeps going in and out a little bit funny, that's why.
okie dokie. Yeah, so Reiki sessions, talk about them a little bit. Shall I go first, seeing as I did the Reiki first?
Yeah, go on then.
Well, you tell me what you felt and what went on for you and stuff, and then we'll go from there and see what's.
Well, the interesting thing is, before I came on, I told you about those tests that I'm having. And whenever I have a female client and there's any trauma down in any divine feminine trauma or sexual abuse trauma or anything like that, usually she'll come on a period straight away. And that's the body shamanically clearing itself for the woman. And she'll text and go, even though I always say there's a big chance you're going to come on your period really soon. And then she'll text me and go, oh God, what's happening? It's like, this is just your body clearing. Literally, I told you about that, and I'm due to go for a spa weekend this weekend, and I was like, for my 40th, and I'm like, God, I'm going to end up being on my cycle during this. This is going somewhere, I promise. Being on my cycle during that spa weekend. And I laid down and I just thought, he's going to clear something from that area, which is causing me to have those tests. Did had the Reiki, did your Reiki, went to the loo, and I've started my period.
Oh.
And it's early, like days early, and I don't usually do early. I usually do late.
Yeah.
That's just an example of what can happen when it clears. Like instant, just clear. And because always with the body, when the body goes into illness, it's because of some form of trauma there. And that the physical body replicates it in illness. So with me, there's been a lot of sexual trauma there in this life and past life. So consequently, some dodgy cells have appeared. I'll be honest with people, some dodgy cells have appeared that are only level 1. Level 3 is cancer, but these are just level 1. And they just need to just do some more tests just to make sure everything is as it should be. And it's like, whatever it is, that's how the body, the physical body reproduces that. And you know, it can come at me of women that have got curses on their sexual organs, because back in the day, in order to do a curse, they do hit you financially, they'd hit your sexual organs, or they'd hit your family line. And a lot of women that struggle to have babies or have traumatic pregnancies or have lots of miscarriages or erratic periods, that's why it'll either be past life trauma, past life attacks, past life curses. And there's a lot of women with that at the minute. And then when they start to have the healing, that's one of the ways it can cure. It can clear through the period. Anything sheds comes out. It's like you can vomit it. Some parts of the body you vomit up, some you sweat out, some of it comes out in your urine, some of it comes out in your poo.
Interesting. That's interesting.
So it just shows the power of it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Anything else happen to you? Or any visuals or any other sensory things go on?
Yeah, I tell you what, it was weird, and I actually laughed out loud. I had a vision of you, and you were surrounded. you were stood by this waterfall, and you were surrounded by all. It was like heaven, if that makes sense, like this healing place. And you had this red robe on, and you were quite serious as well. Because I laughed, but you were quite serious and quite methodical. And I was like, that's. You see, and my solar plexus, it literally expanded, and a bit like when you're pregnant and it goes like that, and it was like any minute now this is just going to pop, and I could just feel the solar plexus expand, and then it kind of did pop, and then it did it again, and then not as big, and then it settled down.
Really, because I laughed. I don't know if you watched the video, because they always send a time lapse, but I laughed out loud during your session as well, because funnily enough, I saw you. So it was almost like we had an opposite. You saw me and I saw you, and I just saw you kind of. Well, initially, what did I write down? Initially, at the start, I'll just go through everything that I wrote down. Before I actually connected to you and connected to what was going on, I started getting palpitations. So I just wrote that down. And then I got like a really powerful headache in the third eye and the top of the head on the crown. And I'd already doused your chakras at this point. And the chakras that came up that needed some attention for that session was your root, sacral, and solar plexus, two of which you kind of already knew anyway. And then the third eye and your crown came up. Your crown is really, really like, it's like really, really overactive. So because I doused again later on and asked, and I said which is overactive and which is balanced and which is underactive. And then so it was like the crown and the third eye were really, really powerful, which is understandable for the line of work that you do anyway.
Yeah. So
like I had to just wiggle that in a little bit, but I think that's why I kept getting this pulsating on the top and the third eye. And then as I was going into the session, I'd laid the crystals out, and sometimes I look into the candle light that I have in front of me, or I'll look into the crystals and see what I see in the crystals. And straight away in the amethyst, I saw white feathers. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I wrote that down. And then I saw white flowers afterwards. So there was white feathers and white flowers. And then I got another pain at the third eye, but also at the back of the head. But then further through the session, just before this sort of outburst of laughter came up, I had felt like a real emotional release, like not tearful, but I felt like if it was me, it probably could have been tearful. And I felt this like emotional release. And then after that, I just started like laughing like really loud, because I saw you, and I saw you just like kind of at peace, and then you just like started smiling and laughing, and then I joined in, started laughing as well. So it was like both of us laughing at the same time, which is what we probably were doing anyway, because you were seeing me in a red robe. But then towards the end, and also in the crystal, which I found really interesting, there was almost like a dark figure in a hat, and it looked like I don't know if it was like a trilby or like a cowboy hat, and I thought, that's strange. And he just seemed to be kind of like looming, and like I just saw him in my third eye, and he sort of like went past, and I was like, oh, what's he about? So anyway, I'd already asked for Archangel Michael and Raphael to assist with anything that needed to be done with, and anyway, Michael kind of like moved him on and what have you to into the light, and I saw him moving into the light, and I saw people surround him and kind of take him away. I thought, well, that's interesting. I didn't really know who or what he was, but there was definitely this dark energy that just being taken away and taken to the light. And then after that, there was almost like this sudden release, and this could be where you felt this solar plexus thing, but I had this massive bout of indigestion. I was like really felt it just between my ribs, and I was like, oh, and it was like, and I thought, I wonder if that's what that was that's been lifted from something to do with your confidence that's been shifted on. And that was it. But by the end of it, by the time I'd finished your session, I was vibing so high, my whole body was tingling. I felt really, really good. And then obviously I had to have my session. I was like,
boom, boom, boom. Well, it was just. But do you know what? I was sat here thinking, who's that man in the trilby? Who is that? But you know what? We had a haunted house. We've had a couple of haunted houses when we were younger as kids. And I'm sure there was a story that there was a man in a trilby at the bottom of the stairs. My bedroom was an attic bedroom, so he used to stand at the bottom of my steps,
right,
in a trilby, because it was a Victorian terrace. And I used to see, I know whether it was him or somebody else, but when we moved to a different house, I used to have night terrors and see a man in a trilby and like a long coat, like the 1940s, 1930s, with the doff the cap, that kind of thing. So I'm wondering if he was from there and he'd attached on.
Yeah, I think that must be what it is. Well, I'm glad you understand that. I was thinking, well, is it something that I need to work with. But no, it was definitely it felt definitely from your end. So I'm glad you resonate with that on some level anyway. But yeah, it feels like he's kind of shifted. He was quite reluctant at first. He didn't really want to go. But yeah, I asked Michael to do the work and what have you. So yeah, he's
do the work. See.
get shot, Michael.
It just shows you, though, doesn't it, that what you can actually pick up and throughout your life, and there'll probably be other stuff as well, because you just can't clear it all in one fell swoop,
No,
can you?
oh, absolutely. Because if you did that to someone, they'd end up needing more therapy for the trauma that they're going through, for all the releases and energies. So that was kind of it for you. Nothing much else to go off. He had a big tash as well. He had one of them sort of ones that I'll tell you what he reminded me of. You know, when you see the Mask of V for Vendetta, and he's got that sort of little sort of pin tash and it curls round. He had one of them. He had like one of them, and that's why I was thinking, is he a cowboy? Is he someone more recent? Because he had that curl on the tash. And sometimes you see cowboy films where they have these tashes that have this curl but no, it must be that trilby thing and going on. But he definitely had this little curly tash.
Strange, isn't it?
So there we go.
Also as well, you can, I mean, I feel as though it could be that, but there's also past life stuff. You know, other spirits from your past lives that can't move on from you can attach. You can be, you know, Queen Catherine in that life, and whoever wanted to attach to Queen Catherine in that life attaches to you in that life. Do you see? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
But
I did feel that release, you know, and it was down to old relationships and old heartbreaks and becoming quite angry because of how I was treated in the past. And I literally just felt it just move and shift.
Yeah. Wow.
And like the real heaviness that was on me that just lifted.
Good. Interesting.
I tell you what, Ian, if you're doing that in Reiki, you should try and get into shamanism, you know. That's shamanic, moving people on and stuff. Moving energies on. That's what kind of started happening to me. I started doing the Reiki, and then I started to see other things, and speaking to the shaman that was training me for the Reiki, and it was like, you need to do your shamanic training, because you're starting to see things. You know, a lot of people will do a Reiki and just do the Reiki, and they won't see the entities. There's no judgment in it. But when I started to see things, and she said, you're not protected because you're just doing Reiki, not just doing Reiki, but, you know, if you're doing Reiki and a reptilian appears, at least if you're doing Reiki, you can get rid of that reptilian as well as doing the Reiki, and it will protect you both. So you should look into that.
Yeah, I know I am thinking about starting to incorporate other forms of healing into the Reiki, and I think the shamanic thing is probably, I think it's something that I've been called to for a while, especially with having the Native American guides in that respect. So I do think there's something there that I've been very drawn to oils lately as well, and I've been like using oils on my feet, so even like reflexology and stuff like that as well, you know, that's starting to like sort of that would be interesting to do as well. So yeah.
I mean, I could teach you some of it as well. So some of it, I mean, we can do it over time, and we could do it well. Sometimes we meet up, sometimes we can go and maybe all of us go stay somewhere as well, you know, out in Northumberland, to do some training there and working with the elements and stuff. I don't mean straight away, I mean over time.
Yeah, definitely something to think about, because, you know, as my kind of like journey unfolds and develops and things, because I know like when I started doing the contact Reiki last week, there was a couple of people there that I'd visualized and seen, but I think they were like kind of connected to the building, because the building that I'm using is like, it's like an old Quaker building, and I think they were kind of like there just seeing what was going on, and then they just kind of like moved away. But really interesting how things are kind of shifting and developing.
Yeah,
A
definitely.
lot. Yeah. Mm.
And how the healing is just, yeah, you just gonna happen naturally. It just happens. You can't make it, you can't force it. It just happens naturally.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And what you'll find also as well is when you do your Reiki, you'll end up getting urges to take it further, and that's where like you think I need to take my training further and take what I'm giving further, so the client knows. Because if a client comes for Reiki and then you start taking off attachments and entities and all and cords, it can be like, whoa. But you start getting the urges when you're doing Reiki. You'll just want to do that, and you'll just feel the need to cut that cord. You'll see it, you want to cut it.
Yeah, I think that's been like part of my progression, you know, because obviously I'd started off with meditation, and then that took me into like sort of crystals, and that took me into the Reiki and learning the Reiki. So learning that over the last, continually learning over the last sort of 3-4 years with that, and then incorporating other things into that as well, like the sage and the Palo Santo and oils and all different other tools that we can use alongside it, you know. So it's just this constant upgrade, isn't it, really?
It's fascinating, isn't it?
So let's talk about my session.
Right, I did write some things down. I did put my pad here. Well, first some of it I'll give you off camera because some of it's quite personal.
Right.
So I got a lot of stuff about in the beginning was relationship, which is why I use this. When I show you what you're going to be like, I want some, 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 right? I want some.
That's rose water.
This is it's very similar to rose water, but I found this. It's the Aqua de Florida water we use.
Yeah. Oh, it's the Lehman and yeah.
I came across this one as well. It's Maurian Lardman, Colonia de Rosas, and it's rose water. And I think there's violets in it as well because I can smell violets. And you're the first person I've used it on because I got it just before I moved.
Oh, right.
And all I do is I decant it into that bottle. I don't water it down. I just use it neat. And I sprayed it round, I obviously use my teddy, round the heart chakra of the teddy, sprayed it round your energy field. And this is for opening the heart space and for healing the heart space. Hence the rose at the pink rose on the front. Right. So it's a good one for yourself as well if you want to buy yourself some. For if there's past stuff in past relationships, healing that's needed, to just sit in meditation, spray that and spray it around your aura. Or if there's any, I don't know, unease or any crosswords or anything like that, to just spray it.
Yeah.
You can also use it for rooms as well, to bring love into rooms.
Right.
So say if you've got a baby and she wants to, a mother or father wants to bring love into the baby's room, you can spray it in the baby's room or your child's bedroom or living room, or your healing room. So that's a good one. So I use that. So it's about being patient with the other half. Because what I got that both of you are at different parts of your awakening, and you've just got to be patient. Be patient, because if you're not patient, it can cause anxiety in the other half, if that makes sense. Right. There, I'm here, oh my God, and it makes it, what is just a little bit like that, it can make it feel like that. So just be patient. And I saw your last relationship you were in, which I don't know about. I sent the distance healing symbol to that. Okay, so some healing was sent to that. Taking on too many situations that are not your own, taking on too much, and holding too many people up rather than just letting people do what they need to do. Yeah. So we sent healing to that. There was some excess energy in the solar plexus, so we settled that down. That's so many of us are struggling with the solar plexus at the minute. Yeah. Blocks in throat chakra about speaking your truth. Yeah. So we cleared those, and then there was a past life where you were in a Scottish battle, and you died on the battlefield, and we stopped. We held off both sides. because I mean, I'll discuss this privately as well off camera. They didn't just kill you in battle; they aimed for you. It was like both sides aimed for you.
Right.
So we held back both sides, and then we sent the energy over, and we did a soul and power retrieval for that.
Right.
So because you will have lost fragments of your soul, so we put that back in place, and then the power retrieval, which is an example of why Reiki can, when you're shamanically trained, Reiki can very easily turn from Reiki to a little bit of shamanic treatment as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I know from Akashic readings that one of my lives, well, a couple of my lives have been in Scotland, and
Yeah.
one of them was connected to Mendelssohn, but then the other one I'm not too sure of. But you said there has been a few lives in Scotland,
Yeah.
and what did you mention before that as well? You mentioned the
Blocks in the throat chakra.
yeah. So like towards the end of the session, I felt like it was almost like my neck, like the back of my neck and the sides of my neck, and maybe my upper shoulders as well, just started like clicking. Just like, well, so then I just like sort of like moved my head back and forth, and I was just like, wow. And it just felt, and I moved my head left and right, and it just felt like it felt loads lighter. It felt like there's some of it just being like lifted off it. That felt like really, really good when I finished that. And also because I put my feet up on like the puffy in the living room where I was sat, and I was just looking at my legs, and it looked like I could feel my whole body was zinging and tingling, but it looked like, again, it had that lifting sensation. It felt like my body was, because I was vibing that high, it felt like my body was like lifting out of itself.
Yeah.
Wow. And it felt like really, really good. And the start of the session, at the very beginning, I remember when I closed my eyes, and I just saw these rings of like light, and just as though they were like just going all around me, spiraling all the way down me, going all the way down and then all the way back up again. And then and what happened after that? I can't believe you remember now. I can't remember now. But and then it just sort of like, and then it all sort of like went calm, and then I started getting that thing like towards the end. I was getting the clicking in the neck. Oh, before that, I was seeing. It was almost, actually, it might be something to do with that, but it was almost like there was like someone playing a piano. It was like an old guy playing a piano in a bar. But this was like pre-Victorian. It was like a really old. It was a really old setting and scenario, and I was like, that's strange. So obviously, and then that kind of like just faded away. But I could hear like this gentle piano music, almost like, you know, when sort of like a lounge music, like chilled out, just gentle piano music. It was just like that, and that's what it was. And I was like, wow, that's strange, but like really, really gentle and calm. And then that sort of like faded away. I didn't really know what it was about. I didn't really observe it or to give it too much attention. I was just like so chilled out and zen and what have you. And then I became really, really aware of my body just vibrating and tingling. Tingling all over, and then at the very end again of that session, like with your session, like this indigestion, just sort of like bubbled up. I was just, wow, that's something else that just like popped, you know, and been released. So yeah, it was lovely. And then when it came to the end, I just like, I didn't want to move. I didn't want to get up. I was just like so chilled and so calm. It was really, really lovely.
Yeah. It just shows you how the importance of distance. When I mean, I know some people prefer it hands-on, but distance, when you have a powerful session or an intense session, because some sessions aren't as intense, and some it's dependent, you know, on where you're at in your journey.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to just chill, don't you? And it's that driving home afterwards, or walking home, being in the comfort of your own home.
It's not always about seeing things and feeling things. It's It's like I've explained before to people, you know, it's about having that discipline, isn't it? And giving yourself that time, that discipline to actually do that and sit and receive the healing, or go here, or go for a massage, or whatever.
Yeah.
That discipline in life is part of your healing journey. If you're just someone that just wants to turn up, have a session, go home, then expect everything to be rosy, it's not going to work like that. It's a two-way thing, and it's about your discipline and your inner development within yourself, as well as going to the healing sessions and having whether it's distance Reiki, whether it's shamanic healing, whether it's hands-on Reiki, you know, meditation classes, whatever, you know, it's all so important.
Yeah. And bring it back to what I was talking about at the beginning. You know, sometimes you can have feelings. Say if I'd have gone to a healer and had some of the past life stuff healed that we've spoken about on here, and then I'd have gone to the doctors and found that, it'd have been like, well, wait a minute, Claire, I came to you for healing, and look at me now, I've got these dodgy cells, I've got to go for tests, this isn't nice, this isn't healing, this isn't what I signed up for. But actually that's exactly what you signed up for, because what happens is it comes to the surface to be looked at. And it could be an organ. For some people it may be an organ that needs to be removed, or it could be a knee that needs that. For although the healing's healed what needs to be healed, the part of the body that was in has become bad. So it may just be holistic, you know, or massage, but in some cases it could be to bring the attention to bring the person's attention to that area of the body, or it could be that something needs to be physically removed from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm thinking, you know, the lemons that you work with, the lemons that absorb, it's like the organs, some organs can absorb it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then, like you say, it highlights that area that needs that extra attention, it needs that extra work. And as much as we can look at it and give our analysis of it, sometimes, like you say, it may need to be removed because it's taken in more than it can deal with. And the body can, the body can heal, and it's an amazing healer, but it can only do so much on a certain level. If it hasn't got the time and the energy to restore itself, these need to be like taken out and moved on.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting.
Fantastic day so far with healing now, because obviously this is my self-care week off, so I'm not doing any client. Well, I've got a client in the morning for which is one of my regular block bookings, and I had one yesterday which is a regular block booking, but the rest of the week, other than that, it's a me week. So hence why we've done this today. And then I've got another session with Kirsty tomorrow, so we're doing the session tomorrow.
I'm doing one with Kirsty at 4 o'clock today.
So
she'll be glowing by the end of this week. Well, Kirsty, won't she?
Oh, you and Kirsty doing a share tomorrow as well? Today, sorry.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you're both. Are you getting Reiki as well?
I got mine just before I moved.
Right.
Because it was like, I reckon you need this.
Yeah.
And then I said I'd do it once I'd settled in this side.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's gonna be glowing.
I know.
Absolutely. Beautiful.
It's important though, isn't it? It's important to do it for each other, and to, you know, if there's any other healers that watch us that want to do some energy shares with us, we're more than, you know, you will be as well, won't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. That's why I think at the minute on my channel, I'm very drawn to doing you know, even just like 20-minute distance sessions, you know, on the Reiki Zen channel.
Yeah.
And I just did one. I put one on there yesterday, I think, and I did put another one on there maybe last week, I think it was. But I'm going to try and do one every week. I think it's so important for people, you know, to be aware of this, to just find this time to just chill and just find the Zen, and what comes up, what doesn't come up. But it's just about, again, it's about that discipline, isn't it? And just having that time, giving yourself that time to heal and repair and just reflect on things and put things into perspective.
Definitely, because that's how a lot of people do it. Well, I don't want to book into a session, but if I try it and see how I feel, they're just watching it on YouTube, and it's like, I actually really felt that. I mean, some people will never probably book in,
Yeah.
but they'll get something at a soul level. But there will be people that'll book in and go, you know what? If it feels like that when he's just doing it like that on YouTube, what's it going to feel like when he's actually focusing on me and my issues?
Exactly. Just on that one person. Because, you know, I mean, obviously that's there for whoever to watch whenever, and that will always be live and it'll always be open for that. But yeah, when you're focused on one individual and one energy that you're dealing with, then it's a lot more potent at times. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? What do you think of the solstice energies so far? Do you think they're building?
I think they are. I think they have been for a few weeks now. Because I think that's what a lot of this, especially with the lunar energies as well, I think that's what a lot of this sort of this dream work and sleep and lots of stuff that's just like kind of cropping up from out of nowhere, really, just subconscious stuff that's just lifting and moving on, and that's been going on with me for probably 2 or 3 weeks now. It's just been just random stuff that just popped up and then just gone, you know, or I've laughed about it or felt the emotion linked with it, and then it's let it go and it's moved on. And yeah, I think it's definitely building.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big one. Definitely think it's going to be a big one. Last year I did a group healing, and that's when I would do a drumming at Mamre Castle. We went to Northumberland. I think it must have been last year. I think it was the first time we'd been away since lockdown, and it was amazing. The energies in Northumberland. I was so glad I did that group healing, because the energies with the beach, the sea, just everything, and the solstice.
I can imagine, especially there as well. It's
it was on point.
Place.
It was on point.
There's a lot of energy there. It's a beautiful, beautiful environment to be on.
Yeah.
Plus, you got all the sand. You got all that nature around you.
Yeah.
Really powerful. And then this obviously we've got this strawberry full moon, which is that tonight.
Yeah, tonight. Well, it was early hours this morning, wasn't it? It started, I think it was like, shall I check? 12:52 this morning. So it's been at its fullest. It's now starting to. Yeah. There it is.
There it is.
Do you know you can get loads of these now? Different diaries. Astro Moon Diary.
Moon Diary.
It's really helpful, actually, because it's just got everything in it that you need to know about your astrology.
Do you use that as well for your clients and stuff to put?
No, it's literally just for video work, there's nothing written in it for me. But like it gives you like Sun enters Pisces and little write up about it, and it's really helpful, actually. 2022 for Cancer, so you can see what it's going to be for you for Cancer. Sun enters Cancer, there's another write up there. All these little things that just help you, and each month, this is for July, it tells you visible planets, what's going to be in the night sky. Can you see that?
All right.
Planets for the month. It's all just little things that just help us.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to get into astrology a little bit, and I did get a book on it and read about your rising sun or different things like that, and I'm just like some of it I took in, and some of it I was just like, I just don't get that.
No, that's right, because I am the same with it. I can do the bare basics, like about Mercury retrograde, the moons. I can do the bare basics, but I think, you know what I get frustrated with? When people pretend they're astrologers. I think stick to what you're good at. I mean, get a diary like this so you know your bare basics, and watch it on YouTube and learn it for yourself.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of that in the community, where people are coming out with stuff. It's like, to be an astrologer, it takes years of training and a lifetime, like with us, with our Reiki and shamanism, and it just like people just jump in and try and pretend that there's something that they're not. And I think stick to what you know.
Yeah, don't be a mystic, Meg.
It could be like a fear thing where people have got to show off. I can't let people know, my followers know, that I don't know about astrology, because they'll think I'm stupid. But you're not meant to, because you're not an astrologer.
And there's nothing wrong with not knowing things, you know. That's part of the learning process, isn't it? And developing yourself. You know, if you feel called to go into something, then you'll feel that pull and you'll want to know more. You'll become absorbed by it, and then you'll absorb all the information that you need to, and then you're at a point where you can start thinking, oh, actually I could probably like talk a little bit about this and give information on this. But until you're confident within yourself of doing that, then, you know, just leave it alone and develop yourself.
Definitely. So maybe somebody needed to hear that. Maybe somebody's watching that feels like they've got to. You don't have to know everything.
Yeah.
I think the fun thing about this line of work we're in is the constant learning that we're getting and that we do. The books, I'm constantly reading books. I always have a novel on the go. I've always got a novel on the go. I've always got a spiritual book on the go as well.
Yeah.
I do mental health books as well, because you come across that as, I'm not saying I'm a counsellor, but it helps to understand it from a clinician point of view.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's the other part where we often talk about the ego, and just, I mean, we all have egos and whatever, but it's about having that in check, isn't it? Because if someone comes into it with thinking that they know everything and they can give all this information, but they're coming from this egoistic sort of angle, then it pushes a lot of people away, but then it gives them the impression that that's what spiritual people are about. Well, actually, no, we're not. You know, we're more the people that would rather just sit in the background, do the research and learn as much as we can and absorb as much information as possible, to then be able to come to a place where we can give advice, but not tell. You don't tell people what to do or how to do it or where to do it. It's just a little bit of advice. I know there's a page on Facebook that I follow called The Spiritual Mind, and someone had posted on there, what's the best and fastest way to open my third eye? And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? So like everyone was like, oh, well, you want to try this and try these hallucinogenics? And anyway, I was just like, I just commented and said, do not try and open your third eye fast. I said, learn what you need to heal within you first. And as you start to heal, everything will start to flow and operate as it's meant to. That, then don't try and force it.
Yeah, because the third eye, I think we don't realise this, and I never realised this. We think the third eye, psychic predictions, seeing things, seeing beings of light. But with your third eye, you can also see beings of dark, and you can also see your own life. For example, you maybe think you're in a stable job, in a stable relationship, in the perfect street, and your life's good. But what you don't know is that your job's not stable, your relationship's toxic, and the street you live in is not for you. If you just smash your third eye open and you come across that all in one fell swoop, it's overwhelmed. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of people in their awakening. They're seeing way too much.
Yeah.
Of the personal stuff, the family stuff, the generational stuff, the dark that's out there, the big worldwide stuff, and they're overwhelming themselves.
Yeah. Absolutely, totally agree. And they're seeing a lot of, I think they're seeing a lot of this stuff as well, that I know you've talked about a bit on your channel, about using your discernment with some of the information of what people are sharing that's out there, you know. And this could be a mix of people that have gone through that process and tried to like speed it up, where in actual and give all this information out and things feel right to them, but in actual fact it's totally wrong, because they've gone into it too fast, and they need to just go through it layer by layer and ease into that process, and don't try and rush it. No, definitely. There's a lot of craziness out there at the minute, a lot of craziness, and it's quite scary actually. I pulled away from Telegram quite a bit.
I have, yeah,
and I don't really go on Facebook that much. The only time I go on Facebook now is for the business page. It's very rare that I'll share anything on there now, only if I see something funny, and then I might share something, and then other than that, that's about it really, because it's there's a lot of mixed messages out there. There's a lot of misinformation as well in the spiritual community as well. You know, there's all this
there is.
And people like banging the drum about this, that, and the other, and you just think, this isn't the time now. We've been there, we've done that. Now is the time of it's becoming the butterfly, and it's becoming your own power. It's about going back into your own essence, and about learning who you are again. Because when you've put yourself out there a lot and you say a lot of this stuff, you know, it goes out into the ether, and it affects the universe, and it affects the vibration of everything and everyone. And that's why we need to come back into into our center to learn about who we really are again, and what kind of world we really want to create. If you keep going down this route of what a lot of people put out there, it will have the opposite effect.
I think it scares people. I know even now, I said this to you the other day, didn't I? I've got to be careful what I watch, because although I'm aware of a lot of it, sometimes if I'm not in the right frame of mind, it can scare me. Somebody put something on the other day about a certain chemical, and it just freaked me out. And I was like, there's no need. And like the guy came straight in and said, Claire, how many people do you see dropping dead of that? It was nothing to do with this. It was a chemical in food. And it was like, no, I don't see anybody dropping dead, you know, because it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And the sad thing is, a lot of the information that's coming out is needed in some respects, but they're just exaggerating it. They're just throwing it out there in uncontrolled situations, and it's like,
well, they are. I mean, they're throwing bombs, but they're throwing bombs that are just like
throwing bombs, and they're throwing bombs.
So there's just something else, totally else that needs to be just needs to be reined in a little bit.
Do you know what I think it is? And this is going to be controversial, and it could be a trigger. I think it is because as light workers, you can come under, or healers, clairvoyants, you can come under attack by external energies. And I don't know how to explain it. Basically, if you're part of a certain breed and you know about this awakening, what better way than to spill your poison into a person for them to spill it out to cause more fear? Does that make sense? So we're all waking up to the powers that were controlled by external energies, and so the control's diminishing there. So they're starting to come in from this side. It's a bit like I'm seeing, like, you know, in First World War, the trenches. It's almost like there's two battle sides coming together, the light and the dark. Coming from behind into the light, and they're getting, and it's like you're in the battle. You're like, oh God, you know, who's on my side here? And it's just they're all just fighting each other now.
To be like that, what I was shown there just before you went into that, and I was shown, you know, the start of Gladiator, where they fight, and then they all go around the back and take them from behind. That's kind of like the impression that I was given. But
and planting false lighting and stuff like that, which can derail all of us. I mean, I said the other day, I thought, what's his name? Elon Musk. And since I've looked into that and really sat with that, it's like, no, Elon Musk's a crank. But people did that with Trump. People did, but I'll own that. If I own that. If I come out and say something, because the thing is, there's light and dark within all. What is the devil? What is, say somebody has pissed you off, and to you they're the devil, they've really hurt you. To somebody else they're the angel. You know, because that's the truth. We've all got the light and dark within us. But there's so much illusion at the minute, or dissolute, whatever, illusion and delusion at the minute.
Well, something I was talking about in another of my videos, which I did yesterday or the day before, and it was about vibration. And I was at work actually, and my guide started having a conversation with us while I was at work. I was just like, okay, whatever. I was just watching people milling about, I was watching customers and what have you. And I was thinking about a video that I watched with Dolores Cannon, and about she was talking about higher vibrational beings and ETs and what have you. And she said the reason why we can't see them is because they vibrate at a different frequency. So we only see the reality that we're vibrating at. And then I started getting this information through, and I was just like, That is absolutely right. And that is how New Earth, I feel, is going to happen, because we're all going to shift frequency, and the density that we have currently, we won't see it. It'll be because we're resonating in a higher frequency, we'll then start to see higher vibrational beings. We'll start to focus and live on the higher frequencies, the higher emotion, the love, the joy, the compassion, the togetherness, and be more in tune with nature and the planet, and have this a bit like what you're experiencing, you know, that this community feeling. And, you know, and that's something that I thought, wow, that's really important, because that's something that came out in one of my readings I did ages ago about this like community thing, communities, and coming together of these small packs of people. And that just feels like that's how it's going to happen. It's because we're going to go into this new vibration, this higher vibration. That's what we see. So what we see currently is where everybody is at. Why we need to work on our vibration to create that new frequency.
And we'll start moving jobs and moving relationships and moving areas into these new areas. I call them new areas. But I think I said to Gary, I said, it's like, I remember moving from our old house into the old house that we just moved from. It just felt like moving house. This was weird. This is like, honestly, it's like I'm having to pinch myself. It's like I've been picked out of a dimension, from one dimension into another. I can't even describe it. It's weird. It's blown my mind.
I know when
it's like literally out of that dimension into another one.
Yeah, because you messaged me about that, didn't you? Just after you'd moved, and about all how different it feels, you know, and we both said, you know, well, it will be because of the nature that's around you, the trees, and it affects people. And I find that if I go out for a walk, and I go out to the river, and I go out into the countryside or whatever, and I go to the walk there, and whatever little villages or little places are around there, they all speak, they all say good morning, they all say good afternoon, they all make eye contact. Whereas when you're in the suburbs, the concrete jungle, everyone's got their heads down, you know, that they don't want to make that spiritual connection. That's the difference between being in somewhere like a city to going into the countryside and being with nature.
Listen to this for a mind blower, right? When we viewed this house, we viewed it on the Saturday, and obviously we gave the offering on the same day. The Monday we were waiting to hear back, and I started with this meditation. And for a while I'd got this Viking guide that had been on the peripheral, and he'd not really stepped in. It was a shamanic Viking guide, okay? And I went to this meditation, all of a sudden he stepped in, and so powerfully blew me away. And he showed me a wood near where I live now. And he showed me in a past life in Viking times with him doing shamanic work. And he said, basically, so many downloads, it was untrue. And he said, about when I move here, my work will just go from strength to strength. My life will go from strength to strength, soul connection. And he just showed me this wood, these Vikings, etc. And then obviously, he kind of like energetically picked me out of my house, put me in this house. Honestly, did all kinds of crazy stuff, cutting cords, doing all kinds of things, putting the new people in our house. And I was like, whoa. And it was a few weeks, and then Gary came up the stairs and says, good news, offer's just been accepted, right? As I came out of the meditation, my head's been touched there, came out of the meditation, started sneezing and sneezing and sneezing and sneezing and clearing this stuff. A few weeks afterwards, Gary said, there's something called the Skellingthorpe Walk that goes through like fields, and it goes through these woods. And apparently there's some woods near here, and they're called the Old Woods. And there's Odin's Walk in these woods. And apparently the woods were first occupied by Vikings.
Oh, wow.
And they're like literally a 30-minute walk away from this house.
Wow.
You can't make that up, can you? And I didn't know any of that.
No.
It's called Odin's Walk, and it said it was Vikings used to live in there and set up home in there, and apparently they're massive. So we're going to have a walk round.
Yeah. Well, they did get so far down, didn't they? They got so far down the country, and then they that's why they put the wall up at the borders of Scotland. But they did get past. They got way past York, because obviously they came to William the Conqueror and that, didn't they? So they came all the way down the country.
Yeah.
Obviously they'll have made settlements round about. So yeah.
It just blew my mind.
Wow.
But I've also, before I even thought about moving to Lincoln, I used to have these dreams of Viking ships coming down this big, long, thick river. And it's the river, what's it called? River Trent. River Trent, just before you come into Lincoln. It's the big river that always floods everywhere.
Yeah. You're not near it, are you?
Yeah. What?
You're not near it, are you?
No, we're not on a floodplain. That's the thing with Lincoln, because it's built on water.
Yeah.
So you've got to be careful of your floodplains, which is why it took us ages to find a house, because floodplain.
Yeah. I know there's certain parts of the country you have to be really careful with where you relocate to, because you just think, oh, is that going to flood? Is that going to flood? You know, so yeah. Good. Oh, well. There we go. Your camera's froze. Is she there? Is she coming back? No, I think Claire has gone. I think Claire has departed. So we'll leave that here. I don't know if she can hear me, but we'll leave that here because I need to scoot. But thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and we'll try and reconvene soon if we can find Claire. Bye for now.